Hello and welcome to another AIC video. Today is going to be a quick one. I wanted to go over this. This is my new Hyundai Elantra Blue hybrid. About 8 months ago, bought my wife a Ford Escape SUV with the purpose of being able to ferry her father to and from doctor's appointments, things like that. Unfortunately, a couple months ago, he passed away and she hasn't driven it much. Some bad feelings there, obviously. And so she's kind of been wanting something else. And she thought she'd get a hybrid, save a little bit of fuel economy. Most of her driving is less than 2 miles. More than half of it's less than a mile to the grocery store, kids, friends, things like that. So she wants something that would be a lot better on gas than what she's been getting in any of our other vehicles. So right now, gas in my area is pushing $5 a gallon. And so hybrids or anything that gets fuel economy is really thin on the ground, new at the dealerships. So I called around to a few dealers and said, you know, if you have a car that's on order and the person for whatever reason doesn't buy it, call me, let me know, and I will buy it. And I had a price limit. I was only going to pay MSRP. And I had a few different cars, and this is the first one. The dealership called me back and I purchased the vehicle in question. So again, this is a 2022 Hyundai Elantra hybrid. It is the blue trim, which is the base trim. There's only two trims, the blue and the limited. And there's really not a lot of options. Like, the trim is the trim, and you can add like floor mats or something to it. Like, there's no real options, nothing with it, to be honest. It's kind of funny. I've never seen a car that's, you know, that's so specific in what you get. Normally you go on, and if you go to the build page, they have a whole list of things that you can get. And I don't know if that's because, you know, it's just their marketing strategy, or if it's because of the chip shortage or what. So this is what we got. I paid stickers, about 25 grand plus tax, title, all that jazz, which I've never paid sticker even for a new car before. It's kind of crazy. I did want white. I would have preferred white. I'm in Arizona. It gets ridiculously hot here in the summer. But I will say that this blue is absolutely stunning. It is probably one of the prettiest blues on a car I've seen. Definitely in any car I have owned. So let me go ahead. We'll start at the back, pop the trunk, gotta get an idea of what we're going with, and we'll work our way towards the front. All right, so first things first, because of the aerodynamics and style of the car, trunk opening is just so-so. I've definitely had bigger, but I've also had smaller, but the trunk, being that it's a front-wheel drive car, is pretty darn big. Honestly, I don't use the trunk a whole lot anymore, so I don't really have a whole lot to put in there. But it's pretty big. One thing I appreciate about this car is it is the gray interior. There we go. It's the gray interior instead of the black, which will make a big difference here in the summer. The seats are pretty darn comfortable. We've been driving the kids around. Seats are pretty darn comfortable. One thing I'm kind of disappointed, there's no rear AC or anything. It is a sedan, so there's not a ton of cabin to have to cool, but I really would have liked to have had, you know, like a USB charger or something back here for the kids, for maybe a little bit longer car ride or something. Again, not a big deal. This is mostly a around town car and very short trips, so it's not that big a deal, but it would have been a nice feature. All right, and again, these seats, I really like the pattern. They've done a nice job. Being a $25,000 car, it's pretty cheap for a car anymore. New cars have gotten quite expensive, and the interior is a nice place to be. The seats are comfortable, pretty supportive, hit me in the right places, like in my lower back, gives me nice support. These are manual seats, so manual adjustments everywhere, which is fine. Come in here. Again, this is the only trim level, so there's no options for screens on this one. If you get the higher up trim, you get a bigger screen, but this is perfectly fine. It's an 8-inch screen. Gives you a nice backup camera. I appreciate the shift lever. It's not a knob, it's not buttons. It's a more traditional shift lever, which is important to me because my wife doesn't like change, especially in cars. And this is far more familiar to her from her previous vehicles. Controls overall are pretty good. Let me go ahead and pause the video, get in and start it up. All right, so vehicle is on. Automatically turn off in 30 minutes. You don't hear anything because it's in the all electric mode. Put just shy of 200 miles on the car. We've had it a week. On the right there, you have your distance to empty. You have your battery charge, your engine temperature, average fuel economy, or this is how many miles we've put on it. Add 30 something miles. When we bought it, like 36 miles on it. Turn on the backup camera. Pretty good backup camera. The speaker on this, or the speakers, the sound system is pretty okay. Definitely not the best I've had, but not bad. The backup camera is pretty good, pretty easy to see. Controls, I haven't used the phone on it yet. I haven't driven it a whole lot. Volume up, down, skip through the tracks. Down is next, back is previous. That's opposite of a lot of the cars I've driven. One thing on this car that I'm not a big fan of is the lane keep assist. I find it to be really annoying. So what it will do is you have it in cruise control. You're supposed to keep your hands on the wheel still, but it'll keep you in your lane. But every now and then, especially in like the carpool lane, it struggles to keep the lane. And so it will bounce back and forth a little bit. And that's really annoying. I don't like it. That's one of the few things I don't like about it. But one thing I do like, if I hit this button, auto hold. Oh, so down here you have your parking brake, which is electronic. That pulling up locks it. Haven't figured that out yet, but that will take it off. But auto hold I really like, because if you're going along and you're at a stoplight, you push this and it won't creep forward. It turns off the auto creep on electric, so that's nice. That's the backup camera button, turns it on when you're in park or driving forward in drive mode. We got sport, smart, or normal. We've just kept it normal. I haven't turned on sport at all. I don't know what smart does, if it does anything different. And we'll go ahead and turn it off. We'll pop the hood real quick. All right, not a whole lot to see under here, to be perfectly honest. You got a big plastic cover, and you got some bright orange wires for all the electrical parts, electric motor. But yeah, it's not a whole lot. Now, I will say driving a hybrid's different than what I'm used to. I'm used to kind of lazy V6, inline 4, turbo 4s, V8, like my V8 Chevy Tahoe, my V6 truck, my V6 Jeep over there, or my inline 6 Jeep, excuse me, not V6, inline 6 Jeep. I'm used to stuff that's kind of low, slow, has a lot of torque, or it has a very high revving torque monster of an engine due to a massive turbo. This at low speeds, it runs on the electric motor for the most part. Doesn't have a lot of get up and go with this. You're not gonna put your hair on fire with the electric motor, but it's kind of funny when it switches from electric to adding the gas engine. It's almost like a turbocharged car in the fact that it feels like you've hit that turbo lag where the turbo finally is kicking in. And it's kind of an interesting feeling, but you don't get the additional power. You just get some power and a little bit more noise. This is not a fast car by any stretch of the imagination. I did not buy it to be a fast car, so that's perfectly acceptable. It's just something, you know, it's kind of an odd feeling to get used to, because it's kind of like that kicking of the turbo, but it's not really like the kicking of it's just strange. It's just an odd feeling to me. For the first few times I've driven it. As I've driven it, again, haven't even put 200 miles on it. Getting used to it, it's getting to be a little bit more familiar. It's kind of like the first time I drove a car with a CVT, it's not bad, it's just different. And so it took a little bit of getting used to figure out how to kind of maximize the performance and just the overall enjoyment of driving the car. Same thing with this. It's just a little bit different, but we're perfectly happy with it. So this is just a quick overview. If you have any questions, thoughts, comments, want to see anything more specific about it, want any more specific coverage of it, let me know. I'm pretty excited to own this car. We sold the Escape for more than what we paid for it, and that money's going towards paying this off, and we'll have this paid off pretty quick. We did take a loan, but that's mostly because there were some incentives if we took the loan, and so we took the loan to get the money, and then we'll just pay it off before the year's out probably. So you know, money's not going to be worth anything in a year anyways. Inflation's going crazy. So why not? Anyways, if you have any thoughts, comments, questions, leave those down in the comment section down below. Do my best to answer. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have an amazing day.